Well, it's a new month, so that means new plans. And what I'm concentrating on is more container gardening through August. And I'm going to be using as many of these as I can find. We've had quite a few that's come empty. So far, we've got 8. And we can grow a lot of things in 8 of these little containers. We've already seen that. I've got quite a few outside that's got things growing in them at the moment. And this is the latest one that we did. They're all little gem lettuces. But I'm not going to let them grow into a little hearting lettuce. What we're going to do is just let it grow into a bunch of leaves and then just pick leaves as we need them. But we've got a lot of space on this bench behind me, so I might as well get more seeds sown, fill all these containers up and leave them on that bench, because they're protected from weather. They're going to be a little bit warmer, so they're going to germinate a lot faster. Before I do that though, we've got quite a lot of tomatoes that's ripening on these sweet million plants. And I always say, when it gets to this time of year, as they ripen, take them off, because then more energy can go into ripening fruits that are still green and not over ripening the ones that are already ready. And of course, at this time of year, time is of the essence. You need these fruits to ripen as fast as possible now, so that's why we pick them as soon as we see them ready. Let's grab a few, and then we'll sort some more seed sowing out. Start off with, we have got 1 or 2 on this plant. Some are not quite red, but some are definitely ready to be picked. And even if they're slightly orange, it doesn't matter. One day indoors and they'll be ripe. But most of these are ready to pick anyway. So we're going to empty all these bottom rows today. Them I'll leave, because not only are they still too orange, they'll be a little hard as well. And then we've got more over here. Loads of ripe fruit to pick. Brilliant. And again on this plant. That one's good enough. And lastly, these, there's one that hiding behind there. We'll get that one as well. I'll take that. It's just about done. And then a few off here as well. They're still quite orange, we'll leave those. So that's us first picking from a sweet million this year. They've took quite a while, but now they're definitely on the way. And that's not a bad first little harvest. And while we're doing that, we might as well just check on those Italian plums, because if there's any more ripe, we need to take those off as soon as possible as well. And I can see we've definitely got some to take off. They don't have to be fully ripe. Sometimes they'll just fall off on their own, which is great, because you know they're pretty much ripe. But you don't want them falling off through night and then getting attacked, because there'll be an easy target laid on that ground. So it's better to take what you can. See how easy that came off. They're beauts. And again, there's a little one just down here. In fact, I'm going to take all these bottom ones away. We've got a nice little harvest there. And there is some just here as well. Getting a bit squashed, those. Slightly orange ones, we've already put some of these under stairs and they ripened within a week. So to help that plant out, we'll relieve it of a couple of those as well. And this has grown really strange, this plant. That one has just fell off. It's only a tiny little one, but it'll do. I think I'm going to take this one off as well. And we'll leave all this to grow on a little while. It looks like there's a couple on here. They're ready enough for me to take off. It's going to speed that ripening process up for all the ones that are still like this. And of course, now we've started, we'll have to carry on, because I've just seen lots of ripe tomatoes on these little plants as well. Can't believe how many tomatoes we've had off of these plants this year. They've been brilliant. Cherry falls they're called. I'm taking those as well. That is overripe. Of course, when I picked it, it squashed really easy. So it's another good reason to take them off when they're ready. There's at least 4 over here. And I've split another one as I took it off. I might as well eat that. They are so sweet. Beautiful. And of course, we've got more here. This is turning out to be a bigger tomato harvest than I originally planned. But we are also very grateful for getting it. I'm going to empty this one as well. And then these off the top. I think I broke that branch by accident then. They'll still ripen on the vine, so it's not a problem. I suppose while I'm at it, I might as well get them from Container Garden as well. These plants are getting really tired now, so the sooner these ripen, the better. And we've still got a couple on this hanging basket, so this has done quite well considering it's only a 12-inch basket. Let's get these off. And finally, we'll try over here, because once again there's more ripened. Got to get as much as we can while we can, because before we know it, it's going to be autumn. There's absolutely loads on this one as well. I must admit, next year it's going to be worth getting yourself some of these cherry falls. There's something we'll have a quick look at when we get back in greenhouse, because at this time of year it's also important to keep your eye on. Not exactly what I planned for this video, but of course when they're ready you need to collect them, because if you don't, that's going to lead to more problems. This is what we just collected this morning, and you know we're taking 2 or 3 pickings every week. But look at those amazing ripe tomatoes and all those Italian plums, more to the point. We've also got loads of these in house that's ripened, so I think we might make some sauce up quite soon. Loads and loads of little cherry tomatoes, and they're even better than that. We're starting to get these sweet millions, which are slightly bigger, and there's loads of those to come. But for now, that is a lovely harvest of tomatoes. One thing I've noticed on some of these plants is something that you need to look out for, and it's this. This tomato has developed a ring around top. You can see that. And then it's split open. I hold it back, you might be able to see that a little better. That's something that you need to watch out for on your tomatoes as they're ripening. They're getting too much water. So the only option a tomato's got when it takes up too much water is to split. But a lot of the time it starts with that ring around the top. Eventually they will split. And because these plants are outside and we've had so much rain, that's what's causing this. The ones we've took off the sweet millions are ripe, but they're perfectly fine as well. So keep your eye out for that. And if you see that happening, any that's even slightly ripened, take them off and ripen them indoors. Otherwise they'll all end up splitting. I've took a few off that are this colour from that same plant that split one was on, because they started ripening now So that process will continue off at vine, and we'll get perfectly ripe tomatoes out of these by just keeping them indoors for a couple of days, and then they won't split because they're not taking up any more water. Definitely something to look out for if you've got a lot of tomatoes. So you're better off harvesting them before they ripen, because overripe and too much water will cause them to split. We'll get those seeds done at some point this afternoon, but I better take these indoors first and then we'll have a look at what we're doing. But just before I go, thank you very much to Paul Braithwaite for sending me that donation yesterday. Massively appreciated, as always, and we'll make sure that money is put back into this channel. So thank you very much for that, Paul. It's very generous of you. And if you want to see what we're doing this afternoon, hit that subscribe button, press that notifications bell, and I'll see you later on. Take care.